What happens if Trump wins today's election? And what happens if Kamala Harris wins today's election? In this video, I'm going to decode exactly what happened based on past results. And I'm going to tell you who's going to put more money in your pocket. Does Trump bring more money in your pocket, or does Kamala Harris bring more money in your pocket by the end of today's US election results? Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about what happens if Trump wins this 2024 US election versus what happens if Kamala Harris wins this 2024 US election. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the previous results that we've seen in terms of who brings most money in your pocket by the end of this election results. We're going to talk about things like market volatility, tax policies, interest rates, and employment wages and incomes. All right, let's dive right into this. Market volatility. We can use previous data to understand what happens when the Republican Party wins versus what happens when the Democrat Party wins. What we've seen in the past with Trump winning the 2016 election, you can see a surge of 5% post-election due to Trump's business-friendly policies. So the first thing I can think of, so if we're going to do Republican Party versus Democratic Party, what we can start seeing here is again Mr. Trump here, Donald Trump, and this is Kamala Harris. Now the first pro as such for Trump here is market volatility. Number one, market volatility. Now why I say this is back in 2016 when Trump won the 2016 US election, there was a market surge of 5% post-election due to Trump's friendly business policies. Whereas if you look at the 2020 election, market slowed immediately when there was Biden winning. So this is a con here. So you can call this pros and cons. So we'll call this pros, and down here cons and cons. We're going to start analyzing who wins this battle here. Now, I'm referring to things like who brings more money in your pocket by the end of this election day today. Here, there is a con. So the first con is market volatility going down. So this is going up. What we can expect here is, again, if Trump wins this election today, there would be a surge of 5 to 10% in that market, S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and all sorts of things. So we can expect that to happen today. That's a good thing. Now, the second thing we can expect is if Kamala Harris was to win today, there might be a market downturn. Let's brace for these type of things to happen today. It might happen either way, depending on who wins this election. The second thing I can think of is tax policies. Now, for Trump, that's a pro, because if you look at the 2017 tax cuts after he won the 2016 elections, there was a corporate tax cut from 35% to 21%, and that boosted profits and the stock market started coming up. There was buybacks and stuff like this. So again, tax policies, that's a pro here. Whereas here, we saw that Harris advocates for raising the corporate tax rate to 28% and increasing taxes on wealthy individuals. So obviously, by doing that, this becomes a con for tax policies. This is not beneficial for anyone who is trying to make money out there in the stock market, for instance. What happens here, if you're going to raise taxes on corporates, you're going to start seeing less profits, you're going to start seeing employment going down and stuff like this. So all those corporates' stock shares start falling. So essentially, this will create a downturn for the stock market. Now, next point I can think of is interest rates and inflation. Now, this is the first con I can think of for Donald Trump. So under Trump, the Fed raised interest rates to combat inflation, reaching 2.3% in 2018, but cut rates in response to the pandemic. So obviously there was the COVID-19 there, so we can't really say whether it's because of that or it's because of his agenda. But there was this increase in interest rates. So the first con here is interest rates and inflation. So hopefully So what we're expecting here is there could be a projected interest rate if the regulation stimulus lead to increased spending, for instance, right? Now, with Kamala Harris, what happens here is, again, think of it from a social equity. We're all paying high interest rate for our mortgage right now. Probably what she would do is she would reduce the interest rate in support of your mortgage and stuff like this. What that does is, as I said before, it does benefit some class of people while it might also hurt some other class of people. All the people, the low to middle class earners, that's a benefit here. Harris supports aggressive action against inflation with a focus on economic stimulus and job creation. So we're going to treat it as a pro here. So the first pro here is interest rates and inflation. And the next thing I can think of is employment and wages. As I said before, it's all linked if you start thinking. The more there is corporate tax lowered, the more profit the company makes. So what that then stimulates is employment. The companies wants to grow, so they start employing more and more people, they start spending, the economy start growing. So employment and wages obviously is a pro here. Employment, right? So if you take back again in 2016, unemployment dropped to 3.5% pre-pandemic. Wage growth was stagnant. That's one thing you have to remember. It's employment more than wages. So the employment definitely gets better with Trump winning. So on the other side, you have Harris, who aims to create 7 million jobs through clean energy investments and expanding public services. Again, this is a pro here. So employment and especially wages in this case. So I'm going to highlight this here. Not so much wage here with Trump, but especially here wages. As I said before, Harris' agenda is more to bring up the low to middle class so that everyone else is at the same level. The wealthy, the poor, the rich, all at the same level. Whereas Trump, the agenda is to make the rich richer and the poor, unfortunately, sometimes doesn't benefit from this, like wages and stuff, not really in the agenda of Trump. Now, what's anticipated? In Trump's agenda, we are anticipating a projection of 10 million jobs in infrastructure and energy sectors. Whereas, as I just said before, in Harris, we are expecting focus on minimum wage to $15 per hour in the US, potentially raising wages for 32 million employees. Well, as I said, the big thing here is to increase that wage to $15 per hour in the US. So that's a big raise for 32 million people who are in that low to middle class earners bracket there. Again, this was the pros and cons. What happens if Donald Trump wins versus what happens if Harris wins this election today? Now, if you start thinking who's going to bring more money in your pocket, again, here, right? When you start thinking here, it's more if, let's say you were a low to middle class earners and your whole thing is dependent on things like, your per hour wage, then this here is really beneficial for you. But when it comes to investment assets, businesses, this here is really, really beneficial for anyone who runs a business, have a lot of investments. So Trump wins. Whereas if you're more into 9 to 5 jobs and stuff, so this is what I think would be beneficial for you. But here, if it is more someone who runs a business, has investments, I think this here benefits more those type of people versus the 9 to 5ers and people who has a job usually. So hopefully that has been somehow insightful. We'll all wait and see who wins this election tonight. Let's all hope for the best future for each of us out there. And as I said before, while it can be beneficial for some class of people here, this also can be beneficial for some other type of people out there. So again, wish you all the best in the future out there. As you all know, if something happens to the US, it impacts the whole world. So we're all waiting eagerly to see what will happen. And as I said before, there is a potential market surge here, so watch out for that. It can go either way, so be careful with all investments you do. But that was me just trying to explain to you what usually happens with these two types of electoral party out there. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you did, do like, subscribe, and share with your friends and families. And don't forget to go and watch my last video on how we all have 24 hours in a day and why some get rich and some don't. I decode the types of financial makers, the rich users, the poor users, the middle class users, and you'll start understanding how everyone uses that 24 hours differently. And thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers. Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Ay, still not